I don't know, 15 plus years ago, we put on a meeting called Surgery to Coding, How to Build a $1 Million Podiatry Practice. And no one had ever done anything business in podiatry and really in medicine that we knew of at the time. And so I think we did like 3 years, a couple of meetings a year at different places around the country. And like, it was a huge hit. And we did, at the time, we would do lectures on surgeries, and then at the end of the lecture on surgery, how to properly bill and code for it. And then we go and do cadavers and teach people the procedures, and we come back and do more lectures, and then there would be some business discussion, all this kind of stuff. Kind of going through the course of time, I had gotten my MBA, and we were growing Wild Foot and Ankle Institute quite a bit. We were expanding locations, adding doctors, adding services, bringing in higher level people, and people around the country kind of recognized that. And they would, I'd be lecturing on surgical stuff, and people would always be asking me, like, after I was done with my surgical lecture, walk off stage, go to the back of the room, or go into the exhibit hall. People would be grabbing me, and all they wanted to talk to me about was business stuff. Just business. Like, what are you doing there? How are you doing that? This, that, and the other thing. Can I come visit you? And I'm like, yeah, sure, come visit me. Well, all of a sudden I started to realize, like, I was hosting people in my office all the time. And while I'm super happy to give back and provide people stuff, I kind of started to realize it's really taking away from my own time running my own business, my family, because I was usually taking people out to dinner and stuff like that. And I started to be like, holy cow, like, this isn't really fair. And so it occurred to me that there was an opportunity in our industry to do something different, to provide people who are pulling me aside and calling me and emailing me a way to get that information in a more meaningful and comprehensive way. And so we ended up creating Foot and Ankle Business Innovations, or the acronym is FABI. It's well known as FABI. And then in 2014, we had our first FABI event. Well, what we did is for 3 days, and it was me, it was my dad, and then there was another practice from Columbus, Ohio, that were really orthopedic surgeons and one podiatrist. They had really run a really interesting practice and businessly innovative, and we did. And for 3 days, we put on original business and clinical content. And we did it in a way that had never been delivered in medicine before. We would literally sit in director's chairs on the stage, and we would kind of give a presentation, but it was mostly like us talking amongst ourselves, talking to the audience, inviting the audience to talk to us. And we had really thought deeply about what topics and how we wanted to go about it, but we covered things like how to bring MRI into your practice, how to bring PT into your practice, how to use DME better, how do you take the surgical patient and enhance their experience through pre-op consultation to surgery to post-op bracing and all this kind of stuff, and marketing strategies and how to bring clinical research into your practice. This kind of stuff, and more than that. And so we had like 50-ish people there. We had a bunch of exhibitors who were excited about the concept. Every exhibitor, which is unusual for a meeting, right, sat in the meeting and participated in the meeting. And the exhibitors were kind of blown away by it. So that was our concept to do. We didn't really know how it was going to land. But one of the most important things that we wanted to do with this concept, which was what this woman Barry brought to it, was then offering something called Mastermind. So at the end of the meeting, we offered Mastermind. What Mastermind was the meeting was to generate interest, and then the Mastermind was to take people to a much higher level, which was, hey, in 3 days, look at how much you've learned that you've never heard before in your medical experience. If you like that, but want to go to a much deeper level with us and coaching you one-on-one, here's an opportunity to join our Mastermind. And we offered Mastermind, and frankly, we bantered around how much we were going to offer it for. Barry said, look, you got to offer a big amount of money. It's only worth it to you if it's a big amount of money. And she's on one side of it. My dad's on the other going, podiatrists will never pay for this. This will never happen. So it was a pretty big ticket. And we offered it. And lo and behold, 11 people signed up for it. And we were like flabbergasted, like, holy cow. So then we had this mastermind program. And this mastermind program was, we met with the entire group of 11 monthly on a telephone call with innovative, interesting new content. And then another hour a month, we just had a question and answer session. And then quarterly, we met as a whole group together, and people presented on their practices, challenges they were having, and the whole group worked together to help solve those problems. So this is the year 2014. And you guys are both looking too young to remember 2014, but it was a pretty depressed economy. And medicine was kind of like most medical practices were going down. Well, at the end of this really interesting year experience, we asked people to tell us, what did this mean to you, like your business, your practice, and stuff like that. The average of these 11 practices, the average increased revenue of 14 over 13 was 18%. With the highest one was a guy who had been in practice for 32 years. He increased his revenue 28% and worked 18 less days than the year before. So it was like, okay, we've proven our model. Like it works. So the next year we did it again, but instead of not having people like show up until the last minute, we actually had some track record. And I think year 2, we had close to 100 people show up with more exhibitors. And the exhibitors in year 2 was equally as successful as year 1. And everybody who had joined Mastermind year 1 signed up for year 2. We raised the price. More people joined year 2. Exhibitors said, okay, best meeting we've ever been to. You know, I really just enjoyed the process with these men and women of helping them find like this thing that they couldn't find, this happiness, this work-life balance, this revenue that they never experienced before, the ability to buy a new house, take some vacations, do things that they never dreamed of doing, right? And that, to me, that is so incredibly beneficial and meaningful. And yeah, I make some money along the way, but the experiential thing and the friends that I've made along the way have been so much more important. So it's evolved, and our mastermind program has stayed relatively similar and the same, and similar type of success stories. And you know, people will age out of mastermind; they'll do it for a few years and then they'll leave. But, you know, whenever I connect with those people, they'll come back and say to me, you know, what you did for me in those 2 or 3 years of mastermind has changed the course of my practice and my life. And, you know, I'll never forget how meaningful that was to me. And there's some people who joined the first year and are still in it. There's a guy out of Houston who, when he came to the first PodiatryMeeting meeting, his goal was to have a $1 million practice, and he was $600,000. And in 2019, he has a $3 million practice. I realize we're now in a virtual world, right? We've got to pivot. We've got to be more virtual. So, you know, I'm looking at maybe doing a virtual event sometime in the late summer or early fall, if I can pull it off, you know, maybe a 2 or 3 day event where we provide this kind of content to the people at large. We're definitely going to try to have an in-person event next spring, but we may have to pivot to a virtual, just depending on what the world turns into. I'd like to do some things where we offer a coaching program to higher level practices. And I just got off a phone call a couple hours ago from a guy who's got a bunch of practices. He has a practice of about 10 doctors. He's looking for a higher level coaching platform. So, you know, whether it's Fabi Mastermind Platinum or Next Level or something like that, we want to offer that. I'd also like to create some type of an online program for office staff that we help teach office staff how to support their doctors at a higher level and get them the most out of their, so they feel better about what they're doing in the practice. We're probably looking towards, April of next year. If we do something in person, we had actually almost signed a contract with a hotel in Dallas. When people come to an event of ours, and it is an event, one is they'll find it a very different type of event in terms of the energy level. A lot more audience participation, collaborative work between the participants, breakout sessions, things like that. But we work on mindset, which is super important. Like, we got to start out with mindset, because these doctors walk in as the most introverted group of people who are just like, lecture to me. Don't talk to me, lecture to me. And so we start out with mindset. We start to have them begin to set a course of goals and expectations for themselves and their team. We then have breakout sessions for office staff, non-owner doctors and owner doctors, and each of those breakouts are a little bit different. So for a non-owner doctor and associate, how do they contribute more to the practice? How do they put themselves in a position to become an owner in the future? For owners, we do things such as planning for future succession planning, monetizing their practice in the long term, planning for retirement, how to successfully grow your practice so you can get the most money out of it when you want to sell, how to sell, things like that. One of our biggest winners at the end of our first day is always our top 5 for. So we did top 5 for 2020. And we went through like 10 different top 5. So the top 5 things you should be doing when patients walk into your office, the top 5 retail things you should be offering, the top 5 things you should be doing with your human resources, the top 5 new services you could add to your practice in 2020, those kinds of things. We also really work a lot about how to grow the practice. Like, how do you set up your practice for success? How do you add an associate to your practice? How do you recruit? How do you contract? How do you train? How do you get that associate to the highest level of expectation? We talk about things that other people don't talk about with respect to, like, accounting principles, like looking at your financials on a regular basis and then using those to help steer your ship, the radar of your flight. And so we work a lot on those types of things, and we share the way in which we look at our things and do those things. We have a real big area about marketing, how to market your practice, how to market yourself. Like, how do you need to not just market yourself, externally, but internally to your team and to your patients when you're in front of them, so that they buy into what you want to do. How to incorporate more cash services into your practice to provide better patient care, but ultimately better bottom line. We talk a lot about kind of high-level billing and coding and some specific things to enhance your revenue cycle team.
The Florida Podiatric Medical Association invites you to attend the annual Science and Management Symposium, affectionately known as SAM, which is scheduled to take place January 14th through 17th, 2021 at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort, located in the beautiful Lake Buena Vista, Florida. The FPMA's educational mission is to promote continuing education in the podiatric medicine, podiatric surgery, and practice management fields through seminars and workshops. Our commitment is to increase knowledge by offering each attendee the educational assistance needed to improve care for their patients and to be successful in practice by promoting the benefits of scientific advancement in the treatment, prevention, and alleviation of podiatric ailments. So, what can you expect at SAM 2021, and why should you attend? This year's symposium has tentatively been titled The Challenge of Change. Recently, for a vast majority, our professional and personal lives were dramatically affected due to COVID-19. While change can be stressful, change is also a crucial component of growth and evolution. Please join us for SAM 2021 as we provide a strategic approach to change, complete with expert advice and best practices. As always, there will be a substantial lineup of relevant and timely scientific programming, and required continuing education, such as risk management, will also be offered. Of course, No SAM would be complete without some social element for networking and engagement. And the ever popular night out with FPMA is sure to return with some slight modifications. If you're a fan, stay tuned. No SAM would be complete without the support and engagement of our sponsors and exhibitors. SAM 2021 is an excellent opportunity for industry to position themselves at the forefront of the podiatric profession. The SAM exhibit hall is the place to showcase products, services, and resources with direct access to over 1,000 members and attendees. FPMA values the sponsor-exhibitor relationship and gladly tailors the sponsor and exhibitor experience to fit, practically guaranteeing ROI. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not address the potential for transitioning to a virtual SAM 2021 should existing conditions not improve. Contingency plans are in place. Should conditions remain unchanged, FPMA has identified mid-September 2020 as a deadline for reassessment. Information regarding SAM 2021 can be located at fpma.com/conference. Please check back frequently for updates. Mark your calendars and plan to join us for premier educational offerings and fraternal networking opportunities January 14th through 17th, 2021. Thank you.
My name is Dr. TJ An. I'm a podiatrist. I've been hosting and organizing a minimally invasive foot surgery conference with Cadaver Lab past 3 years, since 2018. So I've done 3 times in Rosemont, Illinois at Orthopedic Learning Center. So it's a small group, more intense, intimate, kind of semi-private setting in order to maximize the learning experience, the hands-on experience. We limited to 50. This year it was planned for September 18 and 19, but obviously all these tough times, so it has been canceled. And that doesn't mean I stop. Whenever we have challenges, we pivot and we work around. So I know that meeting will be held next year, 2021. Right now, it's in July. So it's scheduled for July, I believe July. So I have to get back to you with the exact dates. But meanwhile, I know minimally invasive surgery is coming back big time, much more improved, proven. We have enough research and evidence now. And also current situation, I believe that minimally invasive surgery allow a lot of podiatrists to perform in office. So in office environment, I believe that's the way right now. Patients do not want to go to big hospital, not only for safety sake, but also their ongoing accumulating cost, out-of-pocket costs for hospitals and big surgery centers, so that you have strong advantage, marketing advantage to communicate with your patients about availability of in-office procedure. Obviously, traditional open surgery, you can also do it in office, but again, minimally invasive surgery, the name sounds exciting, and also the post-op recovery, and also for doctors, investment, all those equipment and stuff, it really requires minimum requirement for preparing for solid in-office procedure suite. So anyway, I still have my private clients and small group that I provide, like private base, up to 5 to 10 doctors. I still do those cadaver lab workshop. If someone wants to learn minimally invasive surgery, don't hesitate to contact me. So my email address is tjan@drtjan.com. So tjan@drtjan.com. And also, you can see a lot more detailed information from my website drtjahn.com. I have all those upcoming events, different programs to help, colleagues to accelerate, their practice, profits, and also marketing through this, difficult times. That meeting is called International MIFAS Cadaver Lab Workshop. And I have a lot of mentors throughout the years of my own learning experience for minimally invasive surgery. I met great mentors and teachers who has taught many podiatrists and orthopedic foot surgeons over the years throughout the world. So I usually gather about 7 to 10 renowned MIS experts all around the world. And usually first day it'll be all didactic. So total CME credit that I'm shooting for is about 16 credit hours for 2 days. So first day it'll be about 7-8 hours of didactic. My plan for next year, possibly make advanced track. So for newcomers and beginners want to go for more basic minimally invasive surgery, I want them to focus that, and I'll have also advanced track. And then we'll usually have a beautiful dinner on Saturday night or Friday night, and then dedicate one full day for whole cadaver lab experience, morning, lunch break, and then evening. My meeting is gonna be all hands-on. Just think about, because I have a lot of doctors' testimonials and they share their experience through my program. And if you listen to them, pretty much everybody will say this is the best hands-on cadaver lab they've ever been to. Some doctors say 40 years of experience. They've been to numerous cadaver lab, but this is the best. I think the reason is because I pay attention to details, and I've been to those cadaver labs and I saw the shortcomings and why, what area that could be improved. And I thought I put my best effort to fill that gap that doctors were experiencing. I'm thinking possibly October or November, I might have one intensive day or 2-day virtual summit that will have, again, I'll bring all those mentors virtually. They'll have live lectures and recorded lectures. And then we will also have a simulation with the cadaver in a virtual environment that we can demonstrate minimally invasive procedures. So we'll try as best as we can, but obviously to really hone on your skill, improve your skill set, you need that hands-on cadaver lab experience. So for that reason, again, contact me. I can hook you up to that small group, private setting cadaver lab workshop experience.
Hello, I'm here to talk about DermFoot. We have 2 meetings. The first one is October 1st through 4th in 2020, so just a few months away. This meeting will be a live and virtual blended event. So that means that we will have a hotel venue at the Washington Hilton Dulles Airport. It's very convenient with a shuttle and a beautiful hotel with fireside chats and open panel discussions on dermatology of the lower extremity. We have Brian Markinson talking about medical, legal, cancer allegations, and we have open panels on all aspects of dermatology, including psoriasis, dermoscopy. The Council for Nail Disorders will be returning, as they are an all-time favorite, talking about nail melanoma and tumors and melanonychia and everything that a podiatrist should be concerned about in the lower extremity. We hope to see everyone there in person. If not in person, we'll see you virtually online. And you'll have the ability to get 25 CECH credits, which is awesome for a very affordable rate. I will also be hosting a virtual vendor hall for all of our vendors, as well as hopefully a live vendor hall that will continue in the spirit of DermFoot. And education with industry sponsors is a wonderful opportunity for everyone. The next meeting we're hosting two in a short period of time, is in April, and that will be April 15th through the 18th. And this is a hotel that is also near the airport. It's in Northern Virginia. It is the Westfield, which is a lovely 26-acre boutique hotel close to wine country. We'll be doing a wine tour at the end of the event, so I hope you'll join some of our faculty for that, and we'll certainly have a good time. It's going to have tracks that are still being developed by our planning committee, and those tracks will be everything and anything lower extremity dermatology that's important to you as podiatrists. So we will have all-time favorites like dermoscopy and skin of color, pigmented skin disorders, melanoma, of course, nail disorders again, and onychomycosis, and basically anything and everything that's important, even COVID skin and vascular manifestations that we're now learning even more science and emerging treatments. So I hope everyone comes to both meetings. You can do it virtual if you can't do it live, and we're so happy to have everyone back. So why would you come to DermFoot if you've never been to a dermatology-focused event? Well, I think that everything we do as podiatrists, as lower extremity specialists, is about skin. So a patient walks into your office for any type of treatment, whether it be biomechanical or trauma or surgery, they are always going to have something that's involving their skin that's important for you to at least examine and have knowledge about. So we know in residency, we didn't have very much skin training. Most of us, just a few weeks of dermatology rotations at best. So DermFoot is going to close that knowledge gap. We're going to teach you how to recognize early skin cancers, to perform biopsies with confidence, to do nail procedures that you've never imagined possible, and really just to recognize any and all skin conditions that affect the lower extremity. It's very important in our profession for the sake of the future of our patients. You know, I think every year DermFoot really does excel at bringing in new speakers. We have international panels that we have folks from Australia and UK and chiropodist from Canada. I have some television superstars coming that is a new thing for us. I have Dr. Ebony Vincent from My Feet Are Killing Me. I have Jonathan Tomines. He's the toe bro of YouTube fame. So these are folks that have interesting dermatology cases and stories, and you will learn from their lifestyle and how they've managed to promote podiatry and dermatology as a profession. Register for DermFoot either for October 1 through 4 or for April 15th through 18th, either virtually or in person. Simply go to www.dermfoot.com, and there's a very simple one-page registration form. I will personally see it myself, and we'll be sure that you can come and enjoy a 25 CECH virtual and or live event.
Meetings during this COVID era are going to be much different than meetings were in the past. Our meetings, you know, we always had a social reception at the end of the day at our Resid Summits. We had the Residency Rumble, which was a live game show that we run. Meetings are fun. People look forward to going to meetings, but in the age of COVID, they're not going to be as much fun. And my prediction is that for the next year, until next summer, meetings are going to be much different. And everyone is going to, all of our colleagues are going to have to decide whether they want to go to meetings to get their CME or they want to do alternatives. We just reviewed what the alternatives are. They're live, online enduring media or live online programs. It's either that or you go to a live meeting and put up with the limitations that running a safe meeting impose. After all this is over, they'll be fun again. So of the 4 ways of getting CME that we reviewed, we do 3 of them. We do live meetings, we do live streaming, and we do online enduring media. We are by far the largest provider of online CME in podiatry. In the last 12 months, we had over 50,000 lectures completed on our website. That's not, so the great bulk of that is for CME. But we've also since 2003 provided the lecture curriculum for the residency programs in podiatry. That's never been bigger. They've never used more of those lectures. And this spring, we set up online education for 6 of the 9 podiatry schools. We offered them that for free because they all had a serious problem providing education for their 3rd and 4th year clerkship students. The clerkship students that were in clinic facilities and hospitals all over the country all of a sudden were not allowed in those hospitals because it was deemed too dangerous for them. So we made our residency education curriculum available to those schools, and we've had tens of thousands of lectures viewed by the schools, and they're still using them. I would like to do a virtual streaming event, and we will certainly consider doing that. My feedback from the events that have gone on so far is that they had technical issues and they were not good experiences. But we do our homework and we don't have technical issues. We practice before we do anything and make sure that we have that those kinks worked out. So I would certainly consider doing those events live streaming if if the details of that could be worked out. A live streaming meeting is not that much different in structure to running our live meetings as far as the lecture hall is concerned. We have an AV table in the back of the room. We have a little network set up, and we have live streamed our meetings in the past as an experiment. There was just never much of an audience for it, so we stopped doing it. But I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think it makes sense to try and recreate the exhibit hall experience.